Okay, here we are. It is December the 5th, and I've decided to do quite I guess, a 2021 summary in perfume for me anyway. And this video will be a little bit stream of consciousness. I'm going to talk about really what the year was like for me from a perfume perspective. I'm going to talk about some of the bottles all the bottles that I bought this year, some things that were kind of highlights, some new discoveries that I made that I really enjoyed, talk about my decluttering, how many bottles I managed to reduce my wardrobe by. So let's start off at the beginning of the year. I actually made a conscious decision at the beginning of the year to really try and reduce my perfume wardrobe. So basically, I started off with, if memory serves me correct, about 104 bottles. I now have been able to, with a combination of selling bottles and even giving away a few, I am down to a rotation of 70 bottles, and this is not even including samples and decants that I also wear regularly. So to me, that still feels like a lot. I must say, once I got to about this number, it was increasingly more difficult to decide on bottles because I was really basing it on a little bit of instinct and intuition throughout the year, that when I came around to wearing something, if I wasn't excited about wearing it, which to me is a good indicator that I'm kind of not in love with the perfume, and historically, it's been okay at times, but I've never actually really gotten excited about wearing a perfume and fallen really in love with it. I decided that it had to go. And I have to say that it's December, and I haven't actually sold or given away any bottles for a few months now, and I have no regrets about anything I've gotten rid of at all. I don't miss anything, and there's been some positive, I guess, positive side effects of me reducing my collection, which I'll get to. But what I will talk about is I've actually still managed to add six bottles to the wardrobe that I didn't have at the beginning of the year. So in effect, if I've got 70, I think I've basically gotten rid of about 40 bottles in 2021, which is, I think, a reasonable effort. I'm going to talk about the bottles that I did add first. And I think the first one I bought in 2021, which was a result of me sampling this last year, doing a review, and literally it was using up the sample, and with everywhere I just realized that I needed it, and it was from a genre that was, for me, there's too many of these perfumes on the market, in my opinion, but this is really, for me, the best one I've worn and that works on my skin, and that's Oud Palau from Diptyque. So this is my Oud Rose, and I absolutely love it. And again, no regrets about this decision, because every time I wear it, I just love it even more. I'm not sure if this is going to be in order. Then I managed to secure a bottle of L'Artisan Zonka, and this again was from a sample that I used up last year, a decant actually. And I was a bit more worried about getting a bottle of this, because this version is increasingly difficult to find, and I think it might have even been discontinued earlier in the year. So I'm so glad that I managed to get this one, which was really lovely. Then this was kind of a blind buy, because it was based on the recommendation of a few people whose taste I respect. It's Chanel No. 5, but I found this on eBay. These were unopened bottles of Eau de Cologne No. 5. And the reason I wanted, I had no interest in getting other concentrations, eau de parfum or eau de toilette. Eau de cologne, I got to smell before I found this bottle, and it was just perfect balance for me. It was a little bit more civety than floral, and the aldehydes are still there. Look, I don't know this. I think this bottle is from the 80s. It's a splash bottle, but maybe oh wow, it just smells fantastic. I mean, it's recognized. It's obviously recognizably number 5, but this particular concentration just is in the sweet spot for me. Then I blind bought another bottle based on recommendations, and it's from a house that I've been interested in trying for a long time. And again, this is no regrets. I haven't done a review of this one yet because I've got to say, Barry Lyndon from Maria Candida Gentile is still one that I'm trying to get my head around in terms of trying to describe. I guess for the purposes of this video, in a few words, it's kind of herbal, anisic, floral, aromatic, but that's not doing it any justice because it's actually quite a beautiful, subtle scent, and probably not one that everyone is going to love or be suited to, but I think this is a good representation of where my tastes have headed this year, and that is, I guess I've really been getting a lot more into floral bouquets, different soliflores in perfume, which has taken me a while to get around to. Like I've gone through all my phases, my amber phase, my leather phase, my animalic phase, and this year really, when I talk about a couple of my favorite discoveries, you'll see that I've been totally turned on to some florals. And the last bottle I purchased, this again was basically finishing a decant of something that is considered a masculine classic from Hermes. And even after a while of finishing that decant, I kept thinking about it. And this is always a surefire sign to me that it's probably a good idea to get a bottle. And luckily, it wasn't a decant of something that was vintage or had been reformulated. This was the current Bel Ami from Hermes. Found the bottle, and again, this is one that I just always will be with now, I think. Like some perfumes, I pretty much liked this instantly the first time I ever tried it. It was the same with Equipage Geranium by Hermes, and I'm so glad I've got these two now in my collection, Bel Ami. So they were the bottles that I actually brought into my collection this year. So one real noticeable effect for me in having a smaller amount of bottles and samples and decants in rotation is that I actually got to wear perfumes I love more often, because if you've been watching me for a while, I might have mentioned previously, I'm not the type of perfume wearer who will wake up in the morning and kind of just wear something by feel. Maybe it's a little bit OCD, but I do like to rotate through my perfumes just to make sure they're all getting evenly worn and I'm not neglecting anything just because I'm in the mood. I don't really let my mood choose the perfume for me. I like to let the perfume affect my mood. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but I live dangerously and I like the perfume to do it for me. But my point is that I got to wear more things that I really love more often. Case in point, in the last month, I wore a couple of perfumes, sorry about the noise, a couple of perfumes in November that I have had for a good, probably, very close to the beginning of when I started to amass more perfume bottles. And I wore Guerlain's Héritage, EDT, and L'Occitane's Eau de Bol. Now, I've done reviews on these. I know how they smell. And for a long time, these were the type of perfumes in my wardrobe that I knew I really liked. Probably at different times over the last few years, I've loved them more or less. Like my interest in them has, ebbed and waned. And so this month I wore them again. And it was like I was wearing them for the first time again. And I don't know if that is a result of having having my nose more decluttered from other perfumes, but I've got to say I really rediscovered how beautiful the dry down in particular of Héritage EDT was when I wore it. And I've said this before about Eau de Bol. I mean, vanilla, cypress incense, that bit of spice. It's such a dreamy perfume. And I think it almost gets taken for granted. And I never, ever have seen, noticed any resemblance to things like Tobacco Vanille with this one. It's just its own thing, and it's wonderful, and it always is an enjoyable wear every single time I've worn it. There's never been one time where I've put this on and thought, oh, maybe I should have worn something else. So, it's made me really appreciate the perfumes I love a lot more, and it's given me a little bit more enjoyment and less kind of decision anxiety or paralysis about what perfumes to wear. Now, just as an aside, because I have an account on Bass Notes and I record Scent of the Day, my two most worn perfumes for 2021, so probably unlikely to change, and I've got reviews of these ones up, My Most Meaningful Relationships by Filigree and Shadow, indie perfumer in the US, and Frédéric Malle's French Lover. I drained a couple of small decants I had, and I bought this bottle. Actually, this was another one of the bottles I bought this year. I think, yes, it was. French Lover was another bottle that I bought because I really, really loved it. So, talking about discoveries, some of the favorite things I've tried this year. So I'm still trying samples, like I've got discovery sets from houses like St. Clair Scents that I haven't even talked about on here. I've just recently got a discovery set from Eris Parfum, which I've only just started to try. I'm working my way through samples, and I'm going to mention, 3 or 4 samples that have kind of stuck in my mind. Like, I'm working my way through them, and these ones are really ones where I'm going to have to make a decision about whether I want bottles of. So I will talk about, one is from Histoire de Parfum, one of my favorite houses, and I haven't spoken or done a review of this one. This is 7753, the one with Mona Lisa. I'll put a picture up on screen on the packaging. This is a tuberose and other floral perfume, but the tuberose is not in the spotlight, so dominates everything. And again, I'm not going to try and describe it to you because I haven't actually smelled it for a little while, but it has stuck in my head because a couple of times I've worn it, it's been really, really beautiful. And I will do a review of them, but I just want to mention them as things maybe you guys want to try or have tried, and you want to comment on them down in the comments. So there was that one that I really enjoyed. Serge Lutin, Fumeri Turk was a beautiful one. It probably made me realize that is my favorite kind of sweet tobacco type fragrance, and I haven't really smelled any as good as that one. Staying on the theme of Serge, one bottle, and this is again related to where my tastes have headed this year. One bottle that I am keen on acquiring next year, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I can find one when I am in Europe later in the year, is Sarasant from Serge Lutin, which is basically this kind of spicy indolic jasmine that has a little bit of carnation blended in with it. It's the first, it's a first jasmine dominant scent that I feel totally comfortable wearing it. It's just, I just feel, it feels like it was made for me. And in the past, things that jasmine dominant to me, it has been an uncomfortable wear, because it's the type of note that can make me a little bit self-conscious. It could just be like conditioning to think that it's supposed to be more of a feminine style perfume, feminine marketed perfume. But I just absolutely love that. And speaking of perfume bottles, so basically the two bottles that I have on my wish list looking forward, that one, and still hopefully I will get my bottle of Dior Eau Noir when I'm over there. But really, I have nothing else at the moment that I know I really need a bottle of this or that. And that obviously can change in the next few months as I finish different samples that I'm trying. But I think I'm actually, in terms of my perfume wardrobe, there's still probably a few more bottles that I really want to don't need. I guess I feel like I don't need, and I've kind of really rid myself of this bottle buying acquisition syndrome. If anything, I'm really a lot more reluctant to, add things to my cart when I'm online shopping, and where I used to be pretty trigger happy. Now it really takes a lot for me to even think about having a look at something and how much it is, or, sort of looking at prices and comparing and trying to find a good deal on anything. I just feel like I've become a lot more discerning in what I buy. That doesn't mean my taste is better or anything like that. It's still my taste. But it's just going to take a lot more convincing to me to want to get a bottle of something. I've kind of gone past the excitement of anything flashy and new that everyone's talking about. I'm happy to sample, obviously, but I have to fall in love with it before I want a bottle of it. So yeah, that's 2021 in review, and this is on top of all the stuff that I'm doing with Miskeo, which there'll be more next year, obviously. And I can't imagine that things in terms of my perfume here is going to change much. If anything, I'll probably lose more bottles, especially if I add some. I'm probably looking to move some on. I just really want to enjoy the things I love a lot more. Stop and smell the roses / perfume, if you like, a little bit more in 2022. I hope everybody has had a fantastic, well, at least a better 2021 than their 2020. And I just really hope that everyone who watches and follows me has a fantastic 2022 and I'll probably do a couple of videos before Christmas, but anyway, I hope everyone has a great holiday period, and I'll see you next time. Bye.